today we're going to be talking about a method of note-taking called the Cornell method. The Cornell method was developed at Cornell University for their law students as a way to provide students a structure for taking notes from lecture. The first thing you want to do when taking Cornell notes is to fold your paper a little bit bigger than the original margin on a lined sheet of paper so that you have a nice left-hand margin. You always want to title your notes. So for example, mitosis versus meiosis, political upheaval in Ghana, whatever the title of the lecture is. In this case, we're going to title it Cornell Note-Taking. If you choose to modify Cornell notes, one thing that you need to make sure that you continue to keep on all your lecture notes are page numbers and dates. The reason why you want to do this is because then you can identify and refer back to a specific date when looking for lecture notes. And in addition, if you ever lent your notes to someone, you can know whether or not they returned all the pages and keep them in order. So this is page 1 and the date is March 20th. Another aspect of Cornell note-taking that I think is very effective for students has to do with using underlining and numeration. So good lecture notes are page-dated and dated. They are paraphrases. So when you're taking good lecture notes, first you should listen to what the instructor is saying. Think about what the important part is, and then write it in your own words down on the page. This will allow your brain to do some processing prior to writing it down, and it will increase your memory of what you listen to. The third thing good lecture notes always contain is that they use numbers, bullets, underlining, and indenting to identify what the important piece of the lecture is. This is key because sometimes when you look back at your lecture notes, if you just wrote an entire paragraph, it's much harder to learn and retain as opposed to looking at it as numbers and underlining and bullets. Much easier for your brain to remember. Another thing Cornell notes always have is a summary. Take that extra 1 minute before you leave class to write down a summary of what you listened to that day. It's going to help you remember. The final thing is that good Cornell notes write questions in the margin. That's why you folded that page and left the margin on the left-hand side. Writing those questions can help you write test questions and identify things that you should be paying attention to. So if I were to be taking Cornell notes on this sheet, I would write the word sum at the bottom and write a summary of what I learned. So good lecture notes use page numbers, underlining, and questions in the margin. Remember, those lecture notes are your way to study the information. Whoops, we'll pull it over just a little bit here so you can read that word margin. So if I were to be looking at these notes back at my house after having listened to this lecture and I'm ready to start studying, what I would do is write a question in the margin. What do all good lecture notes contain? Then I would say, okay, time to study. I'd fold over this sheet and I'd be able to look at this question and say, what do all good lecture notes contain? Well, good lecture notes contain a paraphrase, they have page numbers and dates. I can't remember the rest, but let me open this up and check myself. Oh, the numbers, bullets, underlining, indenting, and a summary. So, if you use this structure of Cornell notes, it will really help improve your ability to take notes.